Hey everyone, ahlan wa sahlan fikum. Welcome back to another video on an annotated transcript. So as you can see here, a couple of weeks ago I uploaded the latest annotated transcript on the Patreon, which you can go and download. So this one is a little bit different. So normally the annotated transcripts, I've usually done them about or I've used these cartoons that are in obviously the dialect. I think the cartoon is Jordanian technically, but anyway, it's the same. So those cartoons are great. It's called Our Family Life. Usually I use those for the transcripts. But I've just found this new channel called Tababa, which is a Jordanian channel as well. And basically they make these short videos that are kind of like PSA style, where they touch on sort of issues that are not usually talked about openly, I guess, which is kind of interesting. So it's kind of nice, actually. I like the videos. They're a bit cheesy, but I mean, they're good overall. And they touch on good topics, and I think it's going to be useful for us because for one, Our Family Life videos are obviously very scripted, or it's like for children, and often they have like a little sort of moral that they're trying to teach or something. So it's kind of very staged. I mean, it's a cartoon. Anyway, these feel a little bit more like natural conversations and sort of situations, even though it's still a bit cheesy. But I don't know. I think you'll notice that it feels a bit more natural, the sort of script, and as well, they are going to touch on sort of a bit more serious issues, I guess, even though it's still in the dialect. So, I mean, grammatically and everything, it's going to be something that we're totally familiar with, and it's actually not going to be that difficult. It's just that the topic is sort of more, not advanced, but sort of more serious, or I guess, or like adultish, rather than, let's share in the cartoons and stuff like that. But I mean, those are good too as well. Anyway, yeah, so in the actual Patreon, you can sort of download the whole transcript, and I've also added like a little bit of an explanation just for your curiosity about maybe how you would talk about disabilities, and like ableism, because that's kind of what it's about, right? Actually, that is what it's about. So it's about like ableism, or sort of workplace discrimination based on disabilities. So I added a little kind of explanation like tamyiz, meaning discrimination, and stuff like that, just kind of useful stuff. These words, funnily enough, they're not really used in the video, because the video is just more of a situation. So anyway, yeah, I added that. But anyway, let's just go to the transcript right away. I'm gonna move myself over. And yeah, so as I've been doing lately, I'm not going to go through the whole thing sort of like in one go and then go back line by line. I'm just going to go through line by line right away, because I think that if you just want to hear the whole, pronunciation of the whole thing, you might as well just go watch the video and hear it in sort of at a natural pace and in a natural kind of situation to practice your listening. So here, instead, I'm just going to focus on practicing sort of the grammar and, making sure that we understand that. So yeah, let's just get started then. All right, so as you kind of saw in the picture, there's a girl. She uses a wheelchair, so it's about her. Her name is Lubna, and she starts out in the house, and yeah, and she's talking to her dad. So her dad says, "Sabah al-khair," and Lubna says, "Sabah al-noor." I don't need to explain that, surely. And then the father says, "Shoo, صاحية بكير اليوم." This "shoo" is kind of just a way of expressing like, oh, or like surprise, or something. It doesn't really mean anything. Anyway, صاحية, this means awake. So صاحي is the plain or the male form. صاحي, it's the active participle of the verb صحي, which means to wake up. So صحي, to wake up. صاحي, awake. صاحية, awake, feminine. بكير, early. So صاحي بكير اليوم, you're awake early today. Then Lubna says, عندي مقابلة شغل كمان شوي. So عندي, I have, مقابلة شغل. So مقابلة is the masdar of the verb قابل. مقابلة means interview. قابل can mean to interview someone. It can be, like for a job, or like in journalism or something like that, or just to meet someone. So we met each other. Actually, we met each other would be تقابل, which is form 6, which is kind of like a reciprocal thing. This is just form 3, قابل, which, I mean, it still kind of means the same thing. It just means I met you. تقابل has more of a connotation of we met each other. But don't worry about that. Anyway, مقابلة شغل, a work interview. كمان شوي. كمان شوي. This is a nice expression, very important expression. It means in a bit or like in a little while, so to speak. كمان means more or also, like كمان, comma, dot, dot, dot. This is like also this and this and this. Um, but in this particular phrase, even though sometimes it can mean كمان, like بدي كمان can mean like I want more potentially. But in this expression, it doesn't mean a little more. So that can be a little bit misleading. It doesn't mean a little bit more. It means it refers specifically to time, like in a bit more time, so to speak. If you actually wanted to say, I want a little bit more water, you would say, بدي أكتر شوي. So كتير means a lot. أكتر means more. So بدي أكتر شوي, I want a little more. أنا بطلع كمان شوي, I am going out, I'm leaving in a little bit. Referring specifically to time. And then the father says, Mabruk, congratulations. There is a feminine, like there's a specifically like feminine form, like if you wanted to add like a suffix, like you can say Mabruki to make it sort of the, like in the dialect, because in standard Arabic you have ka and ki, ka being the masculine ending, ki being the feminine ending. But in the dialect, it's ak and ek. So when there's a vowel before, like as in mabruk, you can't distinguish between ak and ek because it's uk already, right? So in situations like these, you can add a ya at the end, like mabruki. But it's actually, this is also perfectly fine. This will work for both genders anyway. But anyway, I'm just pointing it out. You could say mabruki or you can say mabruk. And for a man, of course, it's always mabruk. Lubna says, Allah yibarik fik. This is a response to congratulations. It's just like, may God congratulate you. Or bless you, actually, because barik actually means to bless. So, yeah, anyway. Bas lissa lissa. Okay, lissa means still. And in negative constructions or negative sentences, it means yet, like not yet. So, أنا لسه بالبيت, I'm still at home. أنا لسه ما طلعت من البيت. I still have not left the house, or I haven't left, or yeah, I have not left the house yet. So it can mean still or yet. I mean, it's just because English kind of treats these words, there's different words for it, but in Arabic it's the same word, lissa. And this sentence, even though there's technically no negative word to indicate that this is negative, it is understood because what she's, I mean, it's kind of contextual, but what she's saying is, but still, like, I haven't done the interview yet, so don't congratulate me yet. But lissa, like, it's too early to congratulate me, so to speak. So it is kind of contextual. But yeah, okay. And then the father says, طب اسمعي. Isma'i, of course, it's the command form and feminine command form for sima', which means to listen. So it just means listen. But the reason I'm kind of highlighting it is because this is a very common way to get someone's attention. It's the number one way to get someone's attention. Isma'i, isma'u. Like, listen, it's just to get someone's attention. Very common. Or like to just sort of introduce that you're about to say something. So yeah, طب اسمعي. أعطيني 5 دقايق. So give me, أعطيني 5 دقايق. دقيقة is 1 minute. دقايق is minutes, so 5 minutes. بجهز حالي. So جهز means to get ready, or sorry, it means to prepare something. But then he's using حالي, which means myself. So I'm going to prepare myself. So give me 5 minutes. I'm going to prepare. I will prepare myself. I'll get ready. And بوصلك. So, by the way, whistle means to arrive, but this verb can also mean, in this case, to make someone arrive, or to deliver someone, or to take someone somewhere. So that's what he's saying. So in other circumstances, أنا وصلت, I arrived, and then here it's I will take you, or I will make you arrive to the job interview, of course. She says, لا مو مشكلة بروح لحالي. So no, it's not a problem. I'll go by myself. Mu is the same as mish and mush. Mish and mush are a little bit, I think they're more common in Palestine. Mu, I don't know, for me it sounds a bit Syrian, but I don't know. I mean, it's still Levantine dialect, so it's fine. Um, but anyway, it's the same exact word. But I personally prefer mish. But anyway, she says actually she uses both. She'll say mish later. But anyway, مو مشكلة. It's not a problem. بروح لحالي. لحالي means by myself. So حالي is myself. لحالي is by myself. So أنا لحالي بالبيت. I'm by myself at home. Um, and notice that baruh, it's in the present tense, but it has a future meaning. I will go by myself. Remember that in the dialect, the present tense can mean both an action right now, like ana bokel, I'm eating, or it can have a future meaning. Baruh means I will go. Um, that's especially true of baruh. So sometimes it can mean both, but in the case of a verb like baruh, it really only means the future or like a habitual action, because normally if I want to say I am going right now, I would say ana rayih. So we use the active participle. That's true for a lot of verbs like ana sakin, ana rayih. Actually, the movement verbs. Ana rayih, ana talih, ana nazil, ana I don't know, raji'. So all of these verbs, if you were to actually use the present tense, so baruh or batla, this means I will, like usually like in the near future. But yeah, so notice that that's why she used that. Normally I would say don't use this present tense form, but that's because it conveys a future meaning, not a present meaning. Okay. Oh. Then the father says, راح تتغلبي. So غلب means to bother or trouble someone. And then this is form 5, so غلب is form 2, so to do something onto something else. But form 5, تغلب, means a few different things. To do something to yourself, or it can be like passive, as in something was done to me. But yeah, it sort of signals that the whatever the subject is in the sentence is actually receiving the action as well, whether it be as a reflexive action because I did it to myself, or because it was done to me, the subject. So anyway, in this case, راح تتغلبي, that those two T's, I mean the first T is because it's you, and then the second T is because it's form 5. So it's saying you're going to trouble yourself, or you will be troubled. I guess it depends on how you define it. But yeah, that's because, well, it's because she used a wheelchair. So I mean, technically you don't know that she uses a wheelchair at this point in the video, but as soon as he said that, I knew, because it specifically like only shows her head. So I was like, okay, this is about workplace discrimination. I can pretty much assume. But yeah, spoiler alert, I guess. And then she says, I want to make sure. Okay, I'm kind of blocking it actually, but I don't know how to solve that. I guess I will move myself. Okay, there we go. Then she says لا الشركة صادفت إنها جنب البيت فبروح لحالي. Okay, again, بروح لحالي, I will go by myself. This fa, by the way, this means so. It's a very quick way of saying so, just like as a consequence of something. فبروح لحالي, so I will go by myself. Okay, it's a very useful little thing to sound kind of smoother in speech. I say it like in every word or every sentence. Anyway, so this she's saying الشركة means the company. صادفت, it's not a very common. I feel like it's not very common, to be honest. But what it means is like, it turns out that the company. So the company turned out to be إنها. Turned out that it is جنب البيت, meaning next to the house. I don't know. So there's a verb. Well, actually, the verb طلع, meaning to leave or to go out, it kind of can be used, I think, interchangeably with صادف. طلع means like, I mean, it means to go out or to leave, but it also has the meaning of something turned out a particular way. Or like it turned out to be a certain way. So like usually to express maybe like either as a result of something, or like you're kind of expressing surprise. So I was talking, or I don't know, what would be an example? Maybe like I was talking to someone in the street and they spoke perfect Arabic. طلع. So he turned out to be Colombi. Okay, so I was talking to someone in the street in Arabic. I don't know, I just used myself as an example, but I was talking to someone on the street and طلع. So he turned out to be Colombian. Um, yeah, I mean that should be fine. I mean this I don't know why she used this, but this is fine as well. Anyway, I'm gonna move myself back. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. Umama بتعرف. Okay. So conversation keeps going. He's just asking, does mom know about your interview? And Luna says, oh, mama بتعرف. Okay. طيب بالتوفيق. بالتوفيق is like a way of saying good luck. You know, wishing someone well, wishing someone good luck. Also, I don't need to explain this, I think. So mama, of course, is mother, and تعرف or يعرف means to know. Yeah. And they've been saying طيب 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 all the time. I hope that, again, this is supposed to be kind of a more natural conversation, and this is definitely pretty accurate. I mean, there's like طيب in every sentence. Okay, شكرا. خلاص. Anyway. Now she's in the street because she's trying to cross the street. Again, you don't know she used the wheelchair yet, but like it's kind of obvious. I feel like just because yeah. Anyway, so this is what happens. So she's on the phone. So she says, "Allo, oh Yasmin." So allo is like hello, you know, Yasmin. أنا بالطريق. Okay, so طريق means a road or like the way. But when you say بالطريق, it means on the way. So أنا بالطريق, I'm on the way على المقابلة. I'm on the way to المقابلة. So I'm on the way to the interview. And then she says هيني بالشارع. So هيني, remember this word, it's really important. Can take suffixes. The word by itself is hay, but it takes suffixes, and it's a way of emphasizing like something that's currently happening, or something, or like I'm in the street. Sorry, right now I'm in the street. So هيني بالشارع. I'm on the street right now. Of course, there's no phrase right now, but it's the implication, right? So I'm on the street right now. بس فيش حدا. Okay, so I'm flagging this word for a sec. Fi, of course, means in. So fi means in. Fi with an H at the end, with a ha at the end, means there is, remember? So, okay, fi al-bayt, without an H, just fa, yeah, fi al-bayt means in the house, something, something, something. Fi, well, okay, fi, how would I even phrase this? Okay, so let's put it a different way. Fi al-bayt, fi akal. So here's two fees, but the first one, if you said the sentence to me, I immediately know that fi al-bayt means in the house, just fi or f, yeah, fi al-bayt, in the house. Fi akal. In this case, it doesn't mean in the food. It means there is food. This is fa, yeah, ha. Fi akal. There is house. There is food. Sorry, I thought of that because the implication, or like what's happening here, is that it's saying in the house, in it, as in fi with the H refers to the house. So fi al-bayt, fi, in the house, there is in it food. And the there is kind of implied. So in the house, in it, there is, parentheses, food. Here, what I wanted to say is that if you want to negate the there is, so if you want to say there is not, you can say ma fi, again, fi, f, ya, ha, ma fi, or you can use the other form of negation, which is with the sheen at the end. So ma ba'rif, I don't know, ba'rifish, I don't know. It means the same thing. But what happens if you can't, oh no, my battery, okay. I will have to, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I will figure out something. Anyway, okay, so what happens if you do this is fish also means there is not, but it deletes the ha. The ha gets deleted. I mean, this is just spelling, which obviously is not really as strict in the dialect anyway, but definitely it's not, you would never write the ha and the sheen. That would look very weird. So, بس فيش حدا, there is nobody, there is no one. بس فيش حدا راضي يمرقني. Don't worry about this. This is kind of strange phrasing. Radi means satisfied, but it just means no one will let me pass, or no one is satisfied letting me pass. Again, it's kind of hard to translate. Just this is just a possible way of saying that nobody is like happy to let me pass. I guess you could say I'm happy to do this. Nobody's happy to let me pass. It doesn't sound right in English, but in Arabic it works. And then marraq means it means to let someone pass actually. So to make someone pass through. So nobody is satisfied. Yimarriqni. So nobody is allowing, or nobody is letting me pass. Yeah, this is not really something that's very common anyway, that you're gonna run into. But yeah, I thought I would just mention that. Anyway, I'm going to have to cancel this and then probably do something and then continue because my battery is running out. Okay, bye. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that, but we can just keep going right where we left off. Okay, so the last thing we read was about crossing the street, and now she is going to say, okay, خلاص بشوفكم بس أخلص. Okay, this first خلاص just means enough, or that's it, or stop. I mean, it kind of can mean different things in different situations. It's really like more of an interjection. And so in this case, it's just like, anyway, or like, all right, that's it. I'll see you as soon as I arrive. So it doesn't mean anything really very specific. It's just a way to put an end to something. Yeah, like a way to put an end to a conversation, or like, خلاص, okay, that's enough. And then she says, بشوفكم, I'll see you. بس أخلص. Okay, this bus, by the way, bus can mean many different things. It can mean but, or like however. So that's the sort of basic meaning. But then it can also mean only or just, like of something. So, like only my phone, or something like, like just that thing. So, for example, بدي قهوة وبس. So, قهوة is coffee. So, I want coffee وبس. So, and only that, right? So, and that's it. Exactly. And that's it. But then, by extension, it can also mean like, in a way, it can also mean like that's enough. Just like in a situation like I'm pouring you coffee, and then you say bus bus bus. So that means like enough or stop. I mean, that's kind of what you might say in English, but in Arabic, it's literally, it comes from the meaning of just or only. So it's like only that much. So bus bus, like that's enough, like only that, right? So in Spanish we would say ya ya ya, which is like, even though see, even means like already, so it doesn't make sense why it's used that way. But same way with bus. So bus is like that's enough, or only, or just, or the basic meaning however, or only, or sorry, however, or but. Anyway, there's another kind of use, which is like when you use it with a verb like this, like bas أخلص. This is like it means as soon as I finish. So أخلص, I finish. So bas أخلص, as soon as I finish. Yeah, that's basically. So it's synonymous with أول ما. So أول means the first. أول ما, blah blah blah. It means as soon as, like immediately upon something. So أول ما وصلت, as soon as I arrived. Yeah, and then here bas أخلص is as soon as I finish, or right when I finish. I'll see you right when I finish. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to translate it, right? But that's the general meaning. So she says, okay, I'll see you as soon as I finish. Bas balla. Balla is like wallah. It's the same thing. It just means by God. It just emphasizes, please, in a way. So bas please. محل, a place. ما يكون في درج. Okay, so محل is a place. Remember, go back to my video on relative clauses. So in English, the main way that we mark like relative clauses, which you'll see immediately, you're about to see what it means. We mark it using the words like that and which. So, the place where we ate last night, right? So place is just the noun, the place. that, right? And then where we ate last night, that's the relative clause. So it's linked to that noun to describe that noun with the word that. The place. Well, in English, actually, we can use. It depends on if it's like if it's a place, we say the place where we ate last night, not that. But in Arabic, there's a one catch-all word that works for everything, which is illi. So al-mahal illi akalna fi. So the place that, or in English we would say where, the place that we ate in it. And another thing, again, I don't want to go too much into detail because there's the whole video that I made on it. But just know that when you use this construction, if there's like a preposition like the place that we ate in English we say the place we ate in, right? We don't say the place that we ate in it. That's kind of redundant, right? But in Arabic, that's how it must be. It must be that way. So al-mahal illi akalna fi, right? I mean, because of the fi, the nature of that word, the H is kind of silent anyway, but technically it must be there. So yeah, so that's why it's mahal ma yakun fi, that there is not in it. Okay, but what you might be asking is, why is there no illi here? Well, because illi is only used for definite constructions. So the place where we ate last night, in Arabic it would be il mahal illi akalna fi. But if it's indefinite, it's the same exact construction but no illi, which can make it a little bit hard to read before you get used to it. But that would just sound like, so a place where we ate. So, you're asking me, oh, where are you going to meet with your friend? Oh, a place we ate in, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but let's say I wanted to say that. In Arabic, it would be mahal akalna fi, a place we ate in it. That's literally all it is. Mahal akalna fi, a place we ate in it. So in this case, mahal, she's saying somewhere without stairs, right? Because she used a wheelchair. So she's saying somewhere without stairs, and that somewhere is indefinite. It's not definite. It's not il mahal, so it's not il mahal illi. It's just mahal, and then whatever you want to say. In this case, it's ma yakun fi daraj. Remember, fi means there is, and if you want to say that in the future, or in this case, like in the subjunctive, or like in the sort of, she's saying it as like a condition, or like as a wish, right? She's not so. So in the plain future, we would say bikun fi, there will be in it, or just there will be. So I don't know, bikun fi ahwe, there will be coffee, right? And in this case is ma yakun fi, that they're a place that there may not be in it. Like she's just expressing it as a wish, as a desire. So that's why it's in the subjunctive. Ikun fi, that there is not in it stairs. I know because the phrasing is different in Arabic, but really all of that just amounts to somewhere without stairs. You could have just said mahal bidun daraj. Actually, you could have said just mahal bidun daraj, literally somewhere without stairs. Yeah, actually, that's exactly the same, but this is just another way of saying it. A place that there is not in its stairs. So pretty much, yeah, the ma yakun fi is kind of equivalent to bidun in this case. Ma fi, there is not. Ma yakun fi, that there is not. That there may not be. Anyway, okay, moving on. Now she's actually in the office. So now she's arrived, and she's talking to like the recruiter. So it's not really the interviewers, but just some other guy. Mudir, I wrote manager. Okay, marhaba, ahlan. Then he apologizes. He says, بعتذر منك, means I apologize from you, aka I'm sorry. It just means I'm sorry. بعتذر منك, I'm sorry. أتأخرنا عليكي. So تأخر, so تأخر means to be late. تأخرنا means we were late. By the way, the initial alif here, so he says أتأخرنا. That initial alif is completely, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add anything. In fact, I should have spelled it without it because it might be confusing. So basically, actually, I think this will come up again with the word تفضل, but form 5 verbs and potentially also form 6 verbs, which start with a ta. sometimes it can be a little bit hard to pronounce. You get a consonant cluster. You get like a bunch of kind of consonants together because it starts with a consonant, like with this ta, which has sukun. So it's just like, well, in this case, it's followed by hamza. So it's not really hard to say, but okay, let's say the word hammam means to bathe something. Hammam means to bathe. Now, it starts with ta and ha, and that ta has a sukun, like it's just like hammam. It just goes right into the ha. But some people, I mean, it's kind of optional. Some people insert an initial alif to kind of make it easier to pronounce, like create a sort of independent syllable. Ithammam. This is perfectly, it means the same exact thing. It's the same, it's literally synonymous. Thammam or ithammam, it's like the same. So sometimes with form 5 verbs and form 6 verbs, you get this initial alif, which does not have any kind of function other than pronunciation. Okay, so, and the phrasing, so we were late, like to, so alayki, to you. By the way, notice the ya at the end. It's like in mabruk, I mentioned about possibly it being mabruki. In this case, alayk, it's because it's feminine, it's alayki. But mabruk, because it's kind of a set phrase, kind of just congratulations, I guess it wasn't used. But because he's talking to Lubna, he says alayki. And yeah, so in Arabic you say I was late to you. Okay, anyway, she says لا مش مشكلة. Okay, and notice, by the way, before she said مو مشكلة, now she says مش مشكلة. Same exact thing. So no, it's not a problem. I'm gonna move myself again so that you can see this. Okay, and then he says بس احنا لازم نستنى الناس اللي قدموا على الوظيفة لحد ما يجوا. Okay, let's unpack this. بس احنا, but we لازم نستنى, we must wait. الناس, so in English you wait for something. In Arabic you just directly wait something. So it's just لازم نستنى الناس, we must wait for the people. So it's the same. I mean, there's no preposition or anything in Arabic. You don't wait for someone, you just wait someone. So لازم نستنى الناس اللي, again, here we go. So in this case, it's الناس, so it's definite, and that's why there's اللي. Yeah, okay, so الناس اللي قدموا. So قدم means to, it means to submit or to move something forward or to apply for something. So in this case, applying for a job, it's قدم. So قدموا على الوظيفة. So wazifa is, I guess you could translate it as job. Well, no, you would translate it as job. I mean, there's another word for job, which is shughl. So shugli, my job. Wazifa, maybe it's more formal. It's kind of, I don't really know how to describe the difference, but it feels, it's almost like employment, because actually wazzaf as a verb, it means to employ someone. So tawzif means employment, employing someone. Wazifa it's a job, but it's like employment, I guess. So it's, I think it's the same thing, but it's just more formal somehow. But it's not like it's fusha or anything. It's just another word. Yeah. So الناس اللي قدموا على الوظيفة, the people who applied to الوظيفة, to the job, لحد ما يجوا. Okay, so لحد means until. There's other ways you could say this, but I like this one because had actually means like a limit. So it feels very kind of literal in a weird way. Like la, like this lam means to something, right? So it's like to the limit, right? That's literally what it is. So until, to the limit. So lahad, ma. Again, you can, like a lot of these time phrases, like when you want to say before something or before I do something. So قبل ما آكل. So قبل means before, just by itself. So I don't know. قبل الدراسة, before the studying. I don't know. Anyway, قبل something, it's for like nouns. But if you want to say before an action, a particular action, like a verb, if you want to use a verb, you use ما. So قبل ما آكل, before I eat. بعد ما آكل, after I eat. So you need this ما in these kinds of phrases. Also, أول ما, as soon as. أول ما وصلت, as soon as I arrived. Notice that it should have the subjunctive, but if you use it in the past tense, obviously there's no subjunctive for the past tense. So, you know, قبل ما أطلع, before I leave. أول ما وصلت. وصلت just the plain past tense. As soon as I arrived. So in the present, or yeah, the sort of present, you use the subjunctive, but in the past you just use the past. And again, لحد ما, until ما, until they arrive, because it's with a verb. So the verb is ija, meaning to come. Actually, I said to arrive, but it's technically it's to come. So as soon as, so in the present, ija is well, if we properly use it in the present, we actually use the active participle j, but the grammatical present tense is bg. So huwa bg. It means, but again, it's not really used in the present. That would have more of a future connotation. But anyway, the subjunctive is obviously based on the proper present tense, bg. So it would be yiji, and in this case, it's plural. So yiju, لحد ما يجوا. Again, based on ija. So until they arrive, or come rather. Okay, I'm gonna move myself back now. You know, I charged my battery for so long that now it's a bit dark. Okay. Anyway, so then Lubna says, wait, let me check. Okay. Then Lubna says, أكيد بستنى. Okay, of course, I will wait. Yeah. And then he says, Inshallah 10 دقايق. So inshallah, hopefully, 10 دقايق, 10 minutes. Actually, yeah, in English we would say like in 10 minutes something will happen. Here he just says 10 دقايق, 10 minutes. هم بيكونوا كلهم جايين ومنبلش التست. Interesting phrasing. So obviously منبلش التست means we begin, and then he says test, literally test. منبلش التست, we will start the test. By the way, notice again that these there's a few present tense verbs here being used with more of a future meaning. Like in this case, she says bastanna, which would be like I wait, but it's more like I will wait, like I'll wait, you know. Again, it's sort of a near future present usually. And then منبلش التست, I mean, it's in the present tense, but it's not like we're starting the test right now. We will start the test when they arrive, right? But anyway, this phrasing is interesting, so don't worry about it too much. But anyway, هم, of course, them. هم بيكونوا, they will be. كلهم, all of them. جايين. Again, jay, I just mentioned. Jay means coming right now. So هو جاي, he's coming. جايين is the plural. So I don't know why I said arriving. Or when I wrote that, it's coming. So they will all be coming. So yeah, actually in English we can also say that. They will be, بيكونوا, they will be arriving. I guess this كلهم, it's in English we would put it maybe somewhere else. هم, like هم كلهم, they, all of them, will be arriving. I think that's fine as well, but yeah, it's kind of an odd kind of phrasing because of the use of بيكونوا with an active participle. This is used, and I'm not going to tell you that it's not used. It is used, and it is kind of weird, and you just kind of have to get used to it. But yeah, so for example, like you can say, for example, بتكون عارف. It means you will know. Literally, it's like saying you will be knowing. So yeah, I can't really describe the connotation that it has. Like, how is it different from راح تعرف? But I feel like, again, this is something I just mentioned in my present tense video a million years ago, or maybe in my active participle video, but the active participle has a more imperfect connotation. Imperfect in a grammatical sense, meaning a sort of general state of affairs, rather than like a one kind of individual action, which is why it's used for verbs like to reside. So I live in Armenia. I say أنا ساكن in Armenia, not baskun, because baskun is like, it's like feels more like a singular action, whereas sakin is like a general state of affairs. So in grammar terms, the imperfect is like a sort of, yeah, it's just is like kind of a vaguer kind of, not a singular kind of action. Google it. I mean, I don't know. It's because I don't want to take the whole video talking about that. But yeah, so it is possible to convey the future using active participles by, rather than saying راح يجوا, they will arrive, by saying بيكونوا جايين, they will be arriving. Actually, it sounds in English, as I said, in English it works as well. But also, like instead of راح تعرف, you will know. بتكون عارف, like you will be knowing, like it's like you will be having knowledge of something. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain the connotation. But look out for it, because it is a phrasing that it's used, and I like it. I think it sounds kind of nice. Well, it sounds natural to me at this point, because it is used. Anyway, thought I would flag that. So then Lubna says, oh, she's like, test shu afwan? Because he says we're going to start the test, which you were probably also wondering, like, what test? Because it's supposed to be an interview. So she says, test shu afwan? Afwan means excuse me. And then the manager says, test al IQ. So an IQ test, which is absurd. I don't know if this is a thing in Jordan. I genuinely don't know, but I have never heard of an IQ test for a job. That sounds absurd. I can't believe that. But anyway, I don't know. Let's just suspend our disbelief, or maybe it is that way, but I was surprised. Anyway, test al IQ. ما بلغناكي عنه. So بلغ is to inform someone, or yeah, to inform. So the word looks weird because there's different endings and things going on. بلغ, and then بلغنا, we informed. بلغناك, we informed you, masculine. بلغناكي, feminine. Again, actually, this is a great example. I mean, this is a great way of showing you what I meant before. So it's either ak or ek. So ak masculine, ek feminine in normal circumstances. But if there's a long vowel before that, you can't say ak or ek. There's no way to distinguish, because you have to say the a or the e or the u, as in mabruk versus mabruki. So instead of ak and ek, it's like just the ka, so mabruk, balagnak, and what was it before? Alek, right? So mabruk, alek, and balagnak are masculine. Mabruki, which again is optional, but anyway, mabruki, aleki, and balagnaki are feminine. So there you see it with all three different long vowels, right? So that's when that happens. Otherwise, it would be ak versus ek. Okay, so yeah, so the IQ test. Didn't we inform you, Anno, about it? Yeah. And then she says, لا ما حدا حكالي. So yeah, nobody told me. So there's another way of saying nobody. You can say ولا حدا. That means nobody or no one. Yeah, but also this ما حدا حكالي. Nobody told me. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if there is a difference between ولا حدا and ما حدا. I mean, there is. I'm just trying to think if it's worth explaining, or if there's really like a significant difference. I think in this case, ma, because it's attached to a verb, I think it's like, you could say that it's sort of negating the verb. So hada hakali, someone told me. Ma hada hakali, nobody told me. Wala hada, yeah. I mean, it is the same thing. Wala hada hakali. I think that is also fine. But yeah, you can think about it that way. Hada hakali, someone told me. Ma hada hakali, nobody told me. In the same way that you can say hakali or ma hakali. So yeah. Anyway, so no, nobody told me. But mish muhim. So again, mish, not. Muhim means important. But so literally it means but it's not important, which is a way of saying it doesn't matter, or it's fine. Malish. it also means it's okay, it's fine. Shukran jazilan. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, then, okay, now next scene, now they're actually in the test room, I guess. And so Lubna says, لو سمحت means please. Please say this. Don't say min fadlik. I mean, that is used, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, it's like the one that I always see people say and the one that I always see people teach, but I never said that. I mean, I heard 90% of the time, لو سمحت. Or if not, please, then. Some people just say please. But لو سمحت is, I prefer it. Anyway, yeah. Okay, and then now here he says, اتفضلي. This is what I was saying before. So technically the verb is تفضل, but you can add this initial alif just to make it easier because of all the letters going on there. So اتفضل or اتفضلي. And this is a fantastic word that you really should know. It means it can mean so many things. It can mean go ahead, or please have something. It's like just a way of befarmaid is what it's in Farsi, like dozo in Japanese. It's just a way of saying go ahead, take this, or feel free, so to speak. So tfaddali, I'm pointing at the couch, like sit, sit, or I brought you coffee, tfaddali, drink, or have it. It's just but it's a very common. You use it for all kinds of things, really. In this case, because she's asking a question, لو سمحت, like she needs something clearly, and he's saying, go ahead, please ask. And then she says, خلصت, I finished it. I finished the test. And then he says, ما شاء الله عليكي, سريع. Okay. So ما شاء الله is a way of saying, it literally means what God willed. You probably already know this, but anyway, it means what God willed, and it's a way of expressing admiration, but without. I mean, the literal explanation that I've seen is like expressing admiration without envy, like oh, good for you, right? But except good for you sounds very sassy in English. It sounds kind of or like fake, or like you're kind of saying it in a mocking way. But that's actually why I translated it this way here, because he doesn't seem to have a mocking tone, but somehow it's like, I don't know, seems a bit condescending. That's the thing, because what you'll kind of be noticing is that if you watch the video, especially, okay, she uses a wheelchair. The point is kind of that nobody's taking her seriously, or like they're underestimating her and not really treating her with the respect that she deserves, because they think that sort of automatically she is like not as smart or not as capable as other people. That's why it's like, oh, okay, she's smart. There's people who are smart, right? But it's like, mashallah, siri'a. Like, oh, by the way, siri'a means, or just siri'a means, without the tamarbuta, it means fast. And with the tamarbuta, it means, it's an adjective. So he's saying she's quick, right? You're quick. But it just feels condescending, because it's like, would you really say that to someone, like, in general, if it's just like a normal, no, not normal. Sorry, just like a random person that doesn't have a disability. But in this case, the kind of idea that I got out of it is like, because she has a disability, so they're treating her like as if like, oh wow, it's so impressive that you're smart. Like, okay, no, she just is. Like, it has nothing to do like one thing with another. So I translate it as good for you, because it feels a bit kind of sassy, or like condescending rather. Anyway, then Lubna says, بقدر أطلع أستناهم برا. That's pretty straightforward. بقدر can, okay, so I can, or can I leave, أطلع, or go out, أستناهم, أستنى, to wait, أستناهم, to wait for them, برا, outside. Barra means outside. So can I leave, can I go out and wait for them outside? He says, معلش سامحيني. I mostly use معلش to say it's okay, something is okay. Whereas here it's kind of the opposite. I think he's saying it's just a way of like asking for forgiveness. So سامح means to forgive, and سامحي is well, so سامح is the past tense. سامح with the kasra, it's a very slight difference. سامح is the command. سامحي is the command for female. So he's telling her forgive, and then ni, that's where the ni comes in. So forgive me. So معلش سامحيني. Again, don't worry about the معلش here, but anyway, he's just saying please forgive me or I'm sorry. But لازم نستنى, we must wait 20 دقيقة, 20 minutes. Notice that the دقيقة is in the singular because numbers above 10 are you don't use the plural anymore. So 1 دقيقة, دقيقتين, 3 دقايق or دقايق, and then all the way until they said 10 دقايق. And then any more than that, it's da'i'a again. So it goes back to the singular after more than 10, from 11 upward. Okay. Then he says, he's just further clarifying. Okay, لازم الكل يطلع مع بعض. So wait, let me check something. Okay, oops. Yeah, so, sorry. Okay, then he says, لازم الكل يطلع مع بعض. So the word order is a bit flipped. So let's just put al-kull first, and then it's kind of simpler. Al-kull, everyone. لازم يطلع, must go out. Al-kull is treated as singular here. So al-kull, everyone. لازم يطلع, go out or leave. مع بعض. مع بعض means together. بعض means actually, it can mean like with each other. Or sorry, it just means each other. So مع بعض means with each other, i.e. together. But you can say ضد بعض, against each other, عن بعض, from each other, زي بعض, like each other, and so on. So مع بعض, with each other, i.e. together. And then she says, okay, مش مشكلة, again, not a problem. بس ما تخاف. خاف means to be afraid of something. So, بس ما تخاف, don't be afraid, so to speak. But don't worry is another way to translate. But don't worry. ما راح أغشش حدا. It's kind of not something you'll see that much. But anyway, غشش means to... Actually, it doesn't... Okay, so غش means to cheat, per se. But this is in form 2. غشش. So غش means to cheat. أنا بغش. But then in form 2, it means to make someone cheat, or rather to, well, not to force them to cheat, but to somehow do something so that they cheat. So what she's saying is like I'm not going to make someone cheat. But like what it means is like I'm not going to share my answers, right? Because by sharing my answers, I make that person cheat, right? Like, so it's just kind of a roundabout, another way of saying it. So instead of I'm going cheating, rather I'm not going to make them cheat. I guess because she's not cheating because she already finished. Rather, she's like, actually, we can make this distinction in Spanish as well, but in English you really can't. But in Arabic you can as well. So I won't make anyone cheat. ما راح أغشش حدا, someone or anyone. Yeah. So as I mentioned in my video about someone, anyone, nobody, and so on, we don't use in Arabic. In English, we use anyone, anywhere, and so on. We use it kind of differently. So just go to that video to clarify if you want. But in this case, hada just means anyone. I won't make anyone cheat. Okay, and then he says, بعتذر منك. They say that so much in this video, actually. بعتذر منك, I apologize from you, or I'm sorry. قوانين شركتنا. شركتنا, our company. قوانين is the plural of قانون, which means law. Actually means law. So company laws. I guess you could translate this as company rules or company policy. Even though the word, technically, as I said, technically قانون means laws or law, and policy is actually like siyasat is like, that would be company policies technically, but this also can be used this way. Okay, I think, there's still more. Okay. يعطيكم العافية يا جماعة. So again, يعطيكم العافية is like saying not quite good job. It's just like a way of congratulating someone for their work or appreciating their work. You say that to anyone who is doing work or has just done some work. Like, yeah, anything like that. Ya jama'a is a way of saying everyone. Yeah. So, I mean, jama'a is the word that's really meaning everyone, and the yeah is just a way of addressing someone. So, good job, everyone. MashaAllah, again, MashaAllah, الكل جاب علامات كويسة. So in Arabic, علامة, it's like a sign, but it's how it's well, actually in British English we say marks, so it's kind of similar. But in American English, I think we say grades. So it's the same thing, like just points on a test or something like that, or in school, علامة, علامات. And كويس means good. كويسة, good, I mean, in this case, it's feminine because it's علامات, which is plural. So remember, plural, non-people, anything other than people that is in the plural is treated as feminine. So علامات كويسة. And in Arabic, you bring a good grade. So jab means to bring. So, and again, it's in the masculine singular form because it's al-kul, which is everyone. So al-kul jab. So everyone brought good grades. That's what it's saying. Bas ma hada, again, or wala hada, either way. Bas ma hada jab, nobody brought or got العلامة المطلوبة. So the requested grade or the desired grade, or like I guess what they were expecting or like what they needed for the job applicants. Again, this is so weird, but whatever. So nobody got the required or requested. I mean, literally, it's requested because talab means to ask for something or to request something. So nobody got the requested grade. إلا, except, very nice word. إلا لبنى, except for Lubna. Lubna, اتفضلي معي. Again, notice اتفضلي, it can mean so many different things. In this case, he's just saying like, come with me. I mean, that's he's not actually saying ta'al, because ta'al is a command, right? I mean, it's not rude, but it's a command. اتفضلي is like an invitation, actually. That's kind of how it feels like. Go ahead and but instead of saying going ahead, it's come this way, right? So come with me. And then مقابلتك في آخر الممر. Okay, your interview, مقابلتك في آخر الممر. So mamar, actually this is a nice word. Mamar means like a pathway, actually, or in this case, corridor or like a hallway. But it technically, like etymologically, it means a pathway, because mar, like as a verb, mar, which is what the root is here, it means to, in the dialect as well, it means to pass something. So marret andu, like I passed by him, or like I passed at his place, sort of. Anyway, it means to pass, especially like to pass by, not like to pass in front of, but rather to sort of pass by, like on the side, sort of. Like istimrar, which also, so astamar, and then the masdar is istimrar. It means like continuation. So astamar, I don't think this is really used in the dialect, but this means to continue. And mustamir means ongoing. Istimrar means like the continuation of something. So using this root, mim ra ra. So it kind of refers to sort of a path, or like passing or continuing in its direction. So mamar is the it's the place pattern, like maktab and maw'a and whatever. It's the place sort of pattern, right? But it looks like this because of the repeated letter, which is the ra, which is why it has shadda. So it's mamar. And by the way, it's also it's in that way it's the same as mahal. So mahal has the same pattern as this word. It's the place pattern, but with a repeated letter. So in the case of mahal, the root is ha, lam, lam. So it's mahal. But technically it's the place pattern. And mamar is also the place pattern, but with this repeated letter, and it means a place of passing, a place of passage. So it's a passageway, a pathway, a corridor, or hallway. Sorry, you really didn't need to know that, but I like words, so you're gonna deal with it. So آخر الممر means the end of the pathway or the end of the hallway or whatever. في الغرفة, in the room, رقم 223. That's just a number. So 200, 200, 23, 23. رقم, yeah, so the room, الغرفة, the room number 223. That's pretty self-explanatory. All right, we've kind of gone, it's kind of become a bit long, but I really just want to do the last scene. So let's just go for it. Okay, marhaba. Now she's actually in the room with the interviewers, which is this really intense looking situation actually. Anyway, so she says, marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan. There's 3 interviewers, but the 2 men, I don't think they have names, so I just called them rajul and rajul. They're both man. Anyway, and 1 lady who is mara. Okay, meaning woman. Anyway, so marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan. Lubna, they're so rude. Lubna, enti متأكدة. So تأكد means to confirm. So to confirm something, and متأكد means to be certain of something. So متأكدة. So are you certain? Are you sure? It just means sure. So أنا متأكد, I'm sure, or I'm certain. So لبنى أنت متأكدة? Are you sure إنك that you are is in parentheses of course مقدمة على الوظيفة الصح. So again, remember I said that you apply to a job, you قدم على وظيفة. So قدم على وظيفة, he applied to a job. So in this case, مقدمة, مقدم is the or مقدم, sorry, is the active participle of قدم. So قدم, to apply, or he applied. مقدم, he is applying, and here it's in the feminine. So مقدمة على الوظيفة, applying to the job. It's just the active participle. It's just an ongoing action. So are you sure that you are applying to the right job? صح. صح means correct. So are you sure that you're applying to the right job? Because now this was the big reveal where you see that she's sitting in a wheelchair. And she says, of course, علاقات عامة. This means public relations. So علاقة is a relationship. علاقات or علاقات is relationships or relations. عامة means عام means public, and of course it's in feminine because again it's علاقات. So and then she says, okay, so علاقات عامة, public relations. So she says public relations in English. Okay, obviously I didn't write that though. And then he says, okay, احنا عارفين, we know, we are knowing. So احنا عارفين شو الوظيفة لبنى. We know what the job is, لبنى. They're so rude. We know what the job is, لبنى. بس بدنا نتأكد إذا أنت متأكدة. So, but we want to confirm. نتأكد, we want to. So see, that's what I said actually. So تأكد means to confirm something. متأكد, to be certain or to be sure. And here we want to confirm. بدنا نتأكد, because it's us, نتأكد إذا أنت متأكدة. So we know what the job is in Lubna, but we want to confirm or want to make sure that you are sure. Also, I just wanted to mention that actually you could even interpret this bus as we just wanted to make sure that you are sure. We just want to make sure that you're sure. Because again, bus can mean but or only or yeah. Actually, kind of, I don't remember how they said it, but it depends a little bit on the intonation potentially. Bas بدنا نتأكد is like, but we want to make sure. But if you emphasize the bus, then it feels more like only. Bas بدنا نتأكد. Yeah. So it kind of just depends on the context and the overall, context. Okay. And then this lady says, the other interviewer, بس هالوظيفة فيها مسؤولية كبيرة. So, but this job, this position, you might almost say, this role. It doesn't really mean role. It doesn't really mean position. But as I said, employment kind of sounds weird in English. So بس هاي وظيفة, but this job فيها. Remember in my last Annotated Transcript video on the one about the Jordanian ad for like Samsung or something, I was talking more about fee. So it can mean there is, but see, let's translate it as there is in this case. But this job, there is in it a big responsibility. Well, what does that sound like to you? I mean, it's just another way of saying something has something. So this job, there is in it a big responsibility. It just means this job has a big responsibility. So البحر في سمك. There's a fish in the sea. But I mean, you could also translate that as the sea has a fish. Okay, that was a dumb sentence. But the point is just that it's really in the Arabic it's the same, but in English, just the way that we translate it, you could think of it as there is in it, or there is, or it has. It just depends on, again, the sentence. But it's more about how we translate it in English. It doesn't really, in Arabic, it's interpreted. It's not different. It's just the same thing. Anyway, so Lubna says akid, which by the way has the same root as akkad, to confirm, or ta'akkad, to confirm. It means certainly or certain. Yeah. Anyway, no matter. And then the man says يعني غير العمل المكتبي. So other than the work المكتبي, so maktab is office. Maktabi is like office work, or like, of the office. So other than غير, غير in this kind of إضافة construction means other ... other than something. So غير العمل المكتبي, other than office work, officely work or whatever. عنا, remember this is the same as عندنا, but because then you have a bunch of letters all together, it gets kind of smushed into عنا rather than عندنا. Anyway, so عنا حركة, movement. عنا تنقل, which also means movement. It's more like transportation though. Yeah, so we have so we have movement. But again, actually when I was translating, you'll notice there's a bunch of like brackets and stuff because it was a bit funky to translate, just because the syntax is just a bit different in Arabic. So عنا حركة, عنا تنقل. So we have movement, we have transportation. It's just like what is going on in this position, what there is in this position. We say in English, there is. This phrasing altogether is kind of weird in English, but the point is, obviously it works in Arabic, so pay attention to that mostly. And then Lubna responds, رخصتي معي. So رخصة is license. So my license is with me. Remember, معي is another way of saying عندي. معي literally means with me, but it's like saying I have. So my license is with me. It means I have my license, right? And then the lady says في عندك, which is quite like in English actually. Or no, actually, no. So literally so في عندك, it means there is at you, or you have تحضير مناسبات على الوقت. So تحضير مناسبات means تحضير. Okay, so حضر means also to prepare something. So جهز means to prepare something. حضر also means to prepare something. Means the same exact thing. تحضير is the masdar of حضر, so preparation. مناسبة is an occasion. Like when you ask, like, oh, what's the occasion? It just means any kind of situation, really. So actually, you could kind of translate it as situation, but so I wrote occasion. So تحضير مناسبات, preparation for occasions, for happenstances, for things, because it's public relations, right? So you have to prepare for occasions على الوقت on time. Now the في عندك again, it means you have, but it's like um, yeah, it's just a way of saying something that you must do. Really, it's just kind of idiomatic, but it's like you have this and you have this and you have this. It's just like saying things that occur in the workplace, right? Um, Again, don't worry about the translation, but rather try to internalize how it sounds in Arabic and how the sort of thought process is in Arabic. Okay, and then بالنسبة إلي, so again, Lubna response بالنسبة إلي with regards to me, or like for me, as far as I'm concerned, الوقت أهم إشي. Remember, مهم means important, أهم means most important. So for me, بالنسبة إلي, for me, الوقت, time, أهم إشي, is the most important thing. And then the man says, okay, طب لبنى, okay Lubna, بدنا تحكي لنا, we want تحكي لنا, you to tell us, بشكل مبسط. In, okay, so شكل means a shape or a form. So بشكل means in a blank way. So بشكل, in a way that is مبسط, in a way that is simplified, or actually simple. So actually, yeah, I mean, you could, well, okay. The reason I wrote simplified is because مبسط is the passive participle of بسط, which would be like to simplify something. So it is something that is simplified. So literally, it's in a simplified way, but in English we would say in a simple way, of course. So we want you to tell us in a simple way. So like in your own words, I guess is kind of what they're trying to say. ومن وجهة نظرك, so from your viewpoint, nazar is like a vision, or yeah, it's like a it's just another, I mean, you know, like in the dialect, the best word for opinion is ra'i. So, or ra'i is my opinion, ra'i, ra'yek, your opinion. But this is a bit more formal, borderline like standard Arabic, borderline. But anyway, so from your point of view, you know, because it's an interview. Min homme, who are they? Yeah, I mean, okay, let's skip that. So min al-ashkhas, who are the people? Min al-ashkhas illi, remember the illi, min al-ashkhas illi bishtiglu علاقات عامة. So who are the people who work public relations, or work in public relations? So who are the people who work public relations? And then the home, it doesn't do anything. I think it's I don't know, because I'm not big on fusha, but I think it's because it's adding this extra pronoun, which is totally not necessary. It just somehow sounds more formal, I think, or like elevated, but it doesn't really it completely does not make any difference. Okay, بالنسبة إلي, so then she starts talking in Arabic, but then she gets interrupted. Okay, so for me, and then the lady is like بالإنجليزي لو سمحت, so in English please, because they want to test her, right? And then she says أكيد, بالإنجليزي, in English لو سمحت, again please, أكيد, of course. And then she starts spouting off in English and says all this stuff. Yeah, so then we will have part 2 of this transcript at an undefined date. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really should shut up now, because honestly this video is already so long. I thought this would be like 30 minutes, but this is what happens to me every time. All right, I will see you very soon. Have a nice day.